Pet dogs and babies are starting. A brutal war. The winner gets all the of love in this world, and the loser can disappear. Place your bets and dive into our review of this hilarious little boy named Tim. He's 7 years old, and he has an incredibly imagination for everything from bathing in the bathtub to riding. Turns into an exciting adventure. Tim adores his parents, and he's sure he has the perfect family. His dad and mom work as marketers for Yoshiko. At Yoshiko, a company that makes cute dogs despite their work, they always make time for their beloved son. One day, dad and mom asked him if he wants a brother. The boy replies that he's fine as he is. Before he goes to sleep, he thinks about how babies come from. They seem to be handed out on some kind of conveyor belt. Most babies, after various preparatory, they end up with loving parents, but the most unique babies are immediately go to management. They are dressed in business suits, and along with a pacifier, they are given a diplomat. A diplomat. One morning, Tim wakes up, picks out his hat, and sees a taxi pulling up to his. A cab pulls up to his house, and a chubby, blonde-haired kid in a black suit with a suitcase in his hand, and he even has a fancy watch and sunglasses. Wow. Tim runs downstairs, and there his parents introduce him to his baby brother. The baby immediately starts screaming loudly and bossing everyone around. Tim's life turns into a nightmare. The new baby takes up all of the time and the parents' attention, and Tim's life is practically forgotten. The boy feels incredibly lonely. He feels like an outsider in his own family. Even he has to take a bath with his little. Tim tries to convince his parents that their new baby is. They don't read bedtime stories, and they don't sing or sing a lullaby. The parents don't have the strength, no energy left for that, so Tim decides to follow his little brother and discovers that he can talk like a grown man. The little guy tells Tim that he's the boss, and if his big brother gets in his way, he'll fire him from the family. Tim realizes that he needs to get proof that this kid isn't really a cute little kid, but a real monster, so he puts on his super secret spy costume and climbs down the stairs, or rather falls down the stairs. He gets an unpleasant surprise in the form of a bunch of babies. We find out that the boss has called a meeting with the other smart. It turns out that in a world of babies, there's a crisis. Babies are losing popularity among humans, and it's the fault of the cute puppies instead of having babies. Grown-ups are getting cute dogs, soon to be unveiled at a show in Las Vegas. A new souped-up, adorable puppy, A, which means the baby-making company B Corp could be shut down. The parents of all the babies here work for at Yoshiko Corporation. Their job is to gather information on the new doggy and get it to the boss. But there's a problem. As smart as the boss, the parents show up, and the meeting turns into a regular kids' party. Tim records the boss's conversation on a tape recorder. But the kids catch up to him on their kitty cars. A fascinating struggle for the tape, during which it ends up in the boss's possession. The boss, however, Tim has no intention of giving up, takes the tape from his little brother. Then the sneaky little guy uses blackmail and tears up Tim's favorite toy. The boy becomes enraged and wants to throw the nasty little guy out the window, a real prisoner in a prison. However, suddenly the poor boy is visited by the milkman boss, who wants to make peace with Tim. Tim first offers him money and then gives him a pacifier, but it's not a simple pacifier, but a real teleporter to transport the brothers to the Baby Corp Corporation. Baby Corp Corporation. As you can imagine, that's where babies are made, by the way. Tim and the boss are invisible because they've become virtual, like a hologram. Our heroes go to the highest floor where the baby managers work. Thanks to the magic baby formula, they don't grow up at all. The boss shows Tim a diagram of human love, which shows that gradually all the love is being taken away by the dogs, and there's less and less, and the babies have less and less to give. If this continues, The babies will disappear altogether. Will disappear. Our boss's job is to gather all the information on the new one that's about to on the market. If he does well, he'll be promoted. If he doesn't, he'll be fired and he'll live with Tim's family. The boy realizes that living with his boss is a nightmare. So he agrees to help his little brother at night. They sneak into his parents' room and rummage through his parents' files. They find a flyer from the Yoshiko Corporation saying they work with children, but how do they get into the company if Tim is under house? The brothers come over. They pretend to be madly in love with each other. They pretend to be madly in love with each other and have a great time together. The parents are happy and forgive Tim, agree to take their sons with them to work at the doggy daycare center. Prepare for this trip because it's so damn important to them. It's pretty damn important. And then they get to the Yoshiko. There's really a lot of cute dogs. Tim and boss, a distraction from his brother, and the boss manages to get to the administration area of the building in one of the offices. They find a folder containing with information about the new dog. Our heroes want to take it, but at that moment, a clever and very complicated mechanism, and the brothers find themselves trapped. They are bound by a creature in a suit of a huge red dog, and it turns out they've been caught by the head of the corporation, a dog named Francis. And hiding in the red dog suit is his brother Eugene. Francis shows our heroes a magical pacifier. Turns out this man is a former hyper mega super B boss, B Corb, who our boss has always considered his idol. Francis tells his sad story. He had a great career in the baby corp and found himself at the top of the ladder. However, he noticed that the magic milk formula was no longer working for him, and he was growing up. The board of directors immediately fired him and sent him to live with the Francis family. Francis vowed to avenge this injustice. He grew up and developed the perfect forever puppy who would take away all human love from the little ones. They would always be small and pretty, unlike babies. Once you see cute dogs like that, no one else would ever want to have children. Francis. There was only one ingredient missing, and that was the magic baby formula from the baby bottle. Corbalas, our boss has such a bottle. And it's immediately taken away by Francis. Francis is taking Tim's parents to Las Vegas for a puppy show. Eugene, disguised as a nanny, stays behind to look after our heroes. Boss is so panicked that he starts acting like a real baby. Without his magic formula, he'll just be a regular, vomits and gets locked in the bathroom. The heroes try to escape, but Eugene chases them. The boss calls in his helpers, other kids from the baby corp, and attack Eugene. Yeah, they're martial artists. Tim is riding on his bike like a real racer, overcoming every obstacle in his path, and imagining he's the captain of a ship. They get to the airport and try to stop his parents. Alas, the boss once again briefly turns into a reel, and Tim has to rescue him, so they can't catch up with Daddy and Mom, and they fly off to Las Vegas with the treacherous Francis. Tim and the boss are fighting, blaming each other for their failure, but they quickly reconcile and decide to fly to Las Vegas. Our heroes steal a suit and a ticket from one of Elvis Presley lookalikes and take one of the best airplanes on the road. Having fun and imagining how they'll to fight the vile Francis. Soon the brothers arrive in Las Vegas and ask the local hotties to take them to the convention center. But there are 3 problems. 1, they don't know how to find their parents. 2, without the magic formula, the boss is slowly turning into a baby. And 3rd, they're being chased again by Eugene, who's also flown to Las Vegas. Soon, our heroes find the place where the new perpetual. The dog is really cute, and the crowd is crazy about him. Francis spots Tim and the boss and locks up their parents in a big box. The brothers have to run away from Eugene again. find a rocket that's supposed to scatter the new puppies all over the world and see how. Francis launches the countdown. Countdown to its launch, our heroes get into a fight with the villain and they drop of parents in the final seconds before. Of takeoff, the boss transforms back into an infant and Tim struggles to save his baby brother. His baby brother, after a drop of formula, becomes the same old Francis. Turns into a baby and falls into, maybe this time, I'll raise him better at home this time. The boss packs up his things and thanks the other. Some get a lollipop, some get a cookie. The boss says goodbye to Tim and goes back to the baby corral. The parents get their memories erased and the house, and all traces of the baby's presence. The boss is greeted with a round of applause like a true hero. He gets a birthday cake and made boss of the boss. But the baby is still sad. Tim realizes that he misses his brother very much. He writes him a letter and confesses that he is ready to share his parents' love with him. Upon receiving the letter, the boss is delighted. He immediately quits his job at the baby corp and returns to Tim's family. As a very ordinary baby, family is incredibly happy at the end of the cartoon. We learn that this is the story. The grown-up Tim is telling his